I think that the Driven series is better than 50 Shades of Grey. Whew, I can't believe I said that. Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Talk Books. It's so good to come back and film with you guys, especially on this video today, because there are a couple things I actually want to talk about besides the book series, which you could see from the title is a book series that I am going to be talking to you guys about, but also about a certain app. So let's just backtrack from the beginning. So a few months ago, I heard about this app called Passionflix. I was very intrigued by it, and I didn't really know what it was about and all this stuff. They adapt into movies / series. And when I found this out, I was completely like, oh my god, this is amazing. So one of the first ones that I watched were the Aftershock series movies. And I really enjoyed them. They weren't my favorite, but I was like, oh, that's not bad, you know? Like, it wasn't as R-rated as I thought it was going to be. And I guess I was kind of disappointed in a way, because I was like, oh, I mean, if they're going to adapt those books and not really show too much, then not that interested. But then they adapted A Matchmaker's Playbook, which is a book by one of my favorite authors, Rachel Van Dyken. When I found out that they picked up that book to be a movie, I was like, oh my god. And then Nick Bateman was the lead. And I watched the movie, and it was so good and so accurate to the book, which the Aftershocks series I never read, so I didn't really know what to expect. But I read The Matchmaker's Playbook, and they literally did it to the T. It was kind of crazy, like how much they just added into the movie, like line for line, like scene after scene, like everything was just like spot on. And that book doesn't really have that much like sex scenes in it. They still created those scenes in the movie very tastefully, and I wasn't really expecting it to be very R-rated anyways. And then I was on their Instagram, and they did the casting for the Driven series, which is the series that I'm going to be talking about, by Bromberg. I've heard of the series. I never really looked into it or bought it, nothing. And all I knew was that it was about like a race car driver, and that's it. And the actor was hot. I was like, oh, sounds good, whatever. They announced that they were going to actually make it into a series instead of just like a movie for book 1, 2, and 3. They were going to make six episodes for the first book. And I was like, I like that, just because they're going to add like so much more and not really leave anything out. It premiered a few weeks ago. I didn't read the book. I was like, let me just watch it. Maria and I were in my house, and I let her watch A Matchmaker's Playbook, and she loved it. I was like, okay, let's watch the first episode of the Driven series. So we watched it. Literally, picture us. I wish we recorded this, but like, if you guys are OGs, then you have watched our 50 Shades of Grey trailer reactions, and you know how obnoxious we were. That's us. That's just us in a nutshell. But that was basically us watching this show. Like, the first 2 episodes, we were dying. Like, dying. Mainly because of the main actor, Casey Dedrick. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Insert picture here, because he is just like, oh, like, who is he? Where did you come from? Like, hello. What's interesting too is that when the first episode started, it said like chapter 1 to 6. So each episode was based off of different chapters, and I really love that about it, and how much they added into each episode. So we finished watching the first 3 episodes, because the next 3 were going to be premiering like a week after, and I was like, oh my god, like, I need to know what happens. I need to read this book. So I got the book and I read it, and I was like, oh my god, this book is life. It's so good. It's like I had to know what happened. Like, I couldn't wait that week. I couldn't wait. I needed to finish it. So I read it and I loved it. So let me just tell you guys what this book series is about before I continue. So this book series follows Colton and Riley. Riley is your main protagonist in the book series. She works with foster kids, young boys who don't have homes to go to. She helps them out. Then you have Colton, who is a race car driver, and the two of them meet at this charity auction event, and things just start progressing from there. It's a little bit of like an arrangement thing going on, but it turns into something more. They both have been through some traumatic experiences in their life. He doesn't know how to be in a relationship and she wants more. He can't give her more. It's something that is done in a lot of books, specifically one of my favorite series, 50 Shades of Grey. And I'll get into that. There's really not much else to say about it without going into details, but I'm actually on book 2. I haven't finished the series yet, so please don't say anything. But I wanted to come on here and just talk to you guys about Passion Flicks and about this series in general. And I just don't think a lot of people know about Passion Flicks, and more people need to know about it. Like, it is genius. They're adapting so many movies, like, by so many popular adult romance writers, and it is just a fascinating thing. And it's like making our like wildest dreams come true. Like, these are books that we don't think are gonna ever be adapted, and they are, because of Passion Flicks and because of the amazing creators of this company. And I want to just point out that even though I haven't read all of the books, just from reading book 1, the way that they adapted this book is incredible. It's so spot on to the book. I've honestly, like, I've watched so many adaptations, and I understand that a lot of times they can't always add everything in, of course, but this is probably the first time where I've watched something, I'm like, it's like the book is just poured onto the screen. Like, it is, they leave out basically nothing. They leave out anything. It's something so small. It's not just only because they adapted it so well and they put everything in the book into the movie, it's also the actors. You guys know how much I love 50 Shades of Grey and that whole series. And yes, this book series is, you could tell that there's a lot of inspiration. Like, I feel like a lot of inspiration for 50 Shades was brought into this book series. I could be wrong, maybe not, but I've definitely seen some similarities. Now, it's definitely not the same thing. The characters are totally different. Colton and Gray, they both can't really be in relationships because of their past. They're complicated, frustrating, yet very intriguing. Like, Riley and Anna are polar opposites. The main thing that they have in common is that they want to do everything that they can to try to help these guys. They love them and they want to support them and be there for them, but obviously they're going through their own troubles. So that's like the main like similarities about the books. Try not to ever compare, and I try not to even like touch it. Now, as far as the books go, of course I'm gonna pick 50 Shades. But with saying that, I think that the Driven series is better than 50 Shades of Grey. Whew, I can't believe I said that. The Driven series is better than 50 Shades of Grey as far as the movies go. The creators of the Driven series, they just got it right as far as how they created it, but also the actors. I don't want to bash Jamie Dornan because I adore him and I love him, and I couldn't picture anyone else being Christian. Casey, who played Colton, his acting was phenomenal, and you felt every ounce of emotion that he poured onto the screen and onto the character. It was like Colton just came alive. It was insane. And every time I read the book, I just picture him, and it makes the experience like way better. And the last episode that was aired, oh my god, like his scene at the end was like terrifying and raw and just like filled with everything that Colton is. It was everything that I wanted it to be. So that's why I say that it is better than 50 Shades. So putting the comparisons aside, like the series as a whole, even though I haven't finished it yet, so I can't judge on the entire series, but from what I've been reading so far, and based off the first book, which I feel like the first book is a good introduction as to possibly where this story is going to head. And I'm not quite sure where it's going to head, because the path that it's on is definitely starting to be a more darker one, and it's starting off darker earlier than I anticipated. So that just makes me feel like what's going to happen next, and that's what excites me the most, is that maybe I do know what's going to happen, maybe I don't. Either way, I have to read it and I have to find out. This series is loved by many, and for a good reason. There are characters that you can't help but love and care for. And Riley, even though I know there's going to be growth in her, there's already so much growth in her as a person because of the things that she has been through in the past. And you could tell how much she has grown from the things that she has experienced. She is at a good place in her life. She has a great head on her shoulder, a great career. The only thing that's missing is that person to share it with. And same thing with Colton, like career and his money and his family and his fame, like all that is great. All that is good. But he's still not dealing with what he has to deal with, and that is his troubled past. And before you could be in a relationship, you have to deal with that. You have to fight those demons. Together, they're going to achieve something amazing and beautiful and something that we're just going to root for in the end. And that's what I just love about them. And as far as the adaptation goes, that is all brought on screen. Their chemistry is undeniable. Many scenes in the show where you felt like they weren't acting. There's a specific scene where they're on a Ferris wheel and there's like music in the background and they're just talking. You don't know what they're saying, but it almost felt like they weren't acting. Like it was just the both of them having a conversation. It just felt very natural. I know sometimes certain lines don't always come across perfect on screen, and sometimes that can happen. And yes, it did happen. There were a couple lines that are like, oh, maybe it works better on paper, and that's the case with a lot of books, especially romance books. Because of their acting and their chemistry, it felt natural. And he just, oh my god, like he just has a way with like his words where, you know, sometimes you're just like, okay, like no guy will ever say that, but I see like truth in his eyes. Like he believes it. It's believable, and that's what's important. Even though the story may not be your ordinary fairy tale, it's still, you still have to believe it. And I believe everything that they show and that they bring to this series. And that's why I love it so much, because as a whole, it's so well done. It's capturing the moments and the chemistry between these characters that we loved on paper. Like we have to love them on screen too, and sometimes that doesn't work, and it works here. And that's why you guys need to watch it and read it. It's just, it's so, so good. If you're just a fan of that type of storyline where it's a broken guy and the girl tries to save him, I know it's getting old-ish, but I'm a sucker for them. I'm sorry. And you remember how before I said that, oh, like other book to movies weren't as R-rated and sexual? Okay, this one is like up there, okay? And actually each of their movies have like a rating of like how naughty they are. I believe this is like a 5 or a 6. I'm not too sure. I don't know if they're gonna go higher, because then you're gonna peak at just pure porn. So I think this area is good on like erotica scenes, and it's tasteful though. Like it's tasteful, so I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, it's like gross. No, it's tasteful. Yeah, I think that's important. Like if you're reading like a adult erotica novel, like the scenes have to live up to it, okay? Like we read them, we need to like see them portrayed well, and they're portrayed so, so well. So if you want to get Passion Flicks, I will leave the link down below to where you can subscribe to it. I believe the main actress, Too Driven, has a discount code on her Instagram page, so I will make sure to leave that down below as well. Highly recommend. It's only like $5.99 a month. It's worth it. It's great. I'm hooked. Everyone else needs to be hooked on it. Like I have a list of books that I want to be adapted. If I have any say in that, probably not, but we need like a vote or something. Okay, I can name a bunch. And I hope one day they will get adapted, because I have faith in them. So far, all their adaptations are amazing. That is all for this video today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so, so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Bye.